Alright, so the latest chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, Chapter 156, was really confusing for a lot of people in regards to Kirara's Cursed Technique, which is called Love Rendezvous, which is based on star constellations. But hey, I got good news for you. If you're still confused about Kirara's Cursed Technique, I'm here to explain it all. However, before we dive into this chapter review, be sure to subscribe with notification bells on and leave a like on this video. Let's go for 500 likes and I appreciate it in advance. Now let's talk about Jujutsu Kaisen Chapter 156, Twinkling Star. Alright, so this chapter picks up where Megumi, after using his Shikigami rapid escape, he starts to notice the name on his Shikigami, which was called Acrux. And soon after, he noticed a word on the door which was called Garcrux, which are names that come from stars on the star constellation. This is when Megumi started to put two and two together. And honestly, I gotta say that this chapter was a demonstration to show that Megumi is one of the most intelligent Jujutsu sorcerers within the series, because the way he was connecting the pieces in this chapter to figure out Kirara's Cursed Technique was brilliant. We find out that Megumi only sent out those rabbits to test out his theory that was slowly becoming true. For starters, we find out that Kirara's Cursed Technique can mark cursed energy. And since Megumi's Shikigami is made of cursed energy, that's why they was able to get marked with Acrux on it, which made all those rabbits repel back to him, just like his divine dog last chapter, and the reason for that makes a lot of sense, which we will get into. Megumi then asks Panda what could those rabbits get close to and what couldn't they get close to. Panda responds back saying that they could get close to him in the second floor, however they couldn't get close to Kirara and the door to the monitor room. Megumi got curious and asked Panda, is there a star somewhere on your body? Panda then checks to see if there's a star on his body, which was very funny the way he checked, but he sees that the star mark that is on his body is called Amai, another name of a star that's connected to the other names like Acrux and Garcrux on this star constellation. This is when Megumi starts to think that there could be something going on with Kirara's Cursed Technique that he thinks he has an idea for, but he checks himself to see that he can confirm the theory for himself. Now, after noticing in the beginning of the chapter that his Shikigami had Acrux on it, and the door to the monitor room had Garcrux on it, and now Panda has Amai, he noticed that he has Acrux on his body just like his Shikigami. This is when Megumi speaks out loud, telling Panda that Kirara's Cursed Technique is based off constellations, and also the constellation it is based off of, which is called the Southern Cross. Now, when Megumi said this, he looked immediately at Kirara's location, and Kirara had a similar expression when Megumi and Panda said that Gojo was sealed. However, this time with this expression was a dead giveaway. Kirara knew that Megumi wasn't 100% sure, but with that facial expression, Kirara knew that Megumi understood what was going on. However, Kirara knew that the objective at hand was to not let them get to the monitor room. When Megumi found out that it was based on the Southern Cross, he thanked his sister, which means that probably in school she taught him about star constellation. Now, when Megumi realized that him and Panda can get close to each other, he asked Panda, isn't the Southern Cross based on 4 stars? And Panda's like, yeah, it should be because it is a cross. However, Megumi thought that the 4 stars based on the Southern Cross that all of them are marked on is creating the distance between each other based off Kirara's Cursed Technique. But he starts to question why him and Panda can get close to each other and why Kirara can get close to the door. This makes him believe that there has to be a sequence in a order for us to go near each other and why the others can't. Because Megumi and Panda start to question that Kirara can just go inside the door, however, there has to be a certain condition, which is why Kirara this whole time is standing by the door and not inside. This is where Megumi and Panda start to realize that there has to be a 5th star and makes more reasons why Kirara cannot go inside the room and she's just standing by the door. Because if it was only 4 stars, all the stars that are marked can all go near each other. So they think to themselves that there has to be a 5th star, and the reason why they can't get close to Kirara because it was just 4 stars, they'll be able to touch her, but they can't. So with this theory that they created, they have to find the 5th star, go through that just to be able to get close to Kirara. Now, I know this part of the chapter is really confusing, but follow me. Things are going to make sense soon enough. Now, when Kirara noticed that they're catching on to the Cursed Technique, she jumps on the car and the car starts to flip up, and that really showed you how physically strong Kirara really is. Now remember, the star name that was marked on Panda was called Amai. And she marked the car as a star named Amai as well. This is why when Panda tried to throw the car back, it repelled back to him. So this all makes sense why when Megumi had the mark A Crux on him, his Shikigami that also had A Crux on him as well all repelled back to him. So whenever Kirara marks something as the same name, they repel back to what they attract, which is the same star. That is why Megumi yelled at Panda to not throw the car since they had the same markings, because the car was going to hit him back. However, Megumi starts to think that contact has to be made for Kirara to mark you for her cursed technique. However, he wasn't touched at all, nor his rabbits. So this further confirms that Kirara is marking things that is filled with cursed energy. Megumi starts to realize how she was marking other cursed objects as well, which means it's also from the residual of cursed energy. So this means that even objects that's not filled with cursed energy, if it's any residual on the cursed object or any object that's not filled with cursed energy, she can mark it. Megumi then finds the 5th star, which is called Mimosa. Megumi then gets close to the object because he knows that since he's marked with A Crux, the objects won't repel back to him because they have a different star name, which was Mimosa. However, the moment he got close, it completely switched and Kirara made the cursed object have A Crux on it as well, which is why the cursed object started to repel back to him. This then confirms Megumi's theory is correct. Now, all the stars in theory have a distance from Earth. Now, the furthest star from the Earth is Amai, and then we have A Crux, Mimosa, Genin, and Garcrux. Now, Amai can get close to A Crux. A Crux can get close to Mimosa, which was the object, and A Crux is Megumi. Mimosa can get close to Genin, and Genin, the star mark is on Kirara, and Kirara, she can get close to Garcrux, and Garcrux is the door. All these stars on the Southern Cross have a distance among each other, and the only way that Megumi can get close to Kirara is that he has to go through Mimosa to reach Genin. All these stars have to go in order. That is why when Kirara marks people with the same star, they have to stay in the same position. That's why they repel back to each other. And when something is not in the order, when they try to get close, they cannot. Now, I know what I said is a mouthful, but hopefully some of you guys understand. Hopefully all of you, but just replay that part of the video and then you can finally understand. Okay. Now, Kirara acknowledged Megumi's intelligence and how he was so quick to figure out the cursed technique. And Kirara explains that she can remove Genin that's on her cursed technique and replace it with A Crux that is on you. And since they were close to each other, this made things repel back to Megumi. However, Megumi was still a step ahead. He had his Shikigami Divine Dog hiding in the bag, which still had the star mark A Crux on it. And since Megumi and the dog were parallel with each other while Kirara is between them, they started to repel and attract each other, which in turn captured Kirara, and that is how Megumi defeated her at the end of the chapter. Finishing off saying, listen to what we got to say. Now, reading this chapter, I felt like I was reading a Hunter x Hunter fight. I gotta be honest. The title for this chapter should have been called 3D Chess because Megumi Kirara, that's what their battle was. It was nothing but strategy in 3D chess. And I really like fights like this. I enjoyed everything about it. But I will also enjoy you subscribing to the channel with notification bells on to see more Jujutsu Kaisen content from me right into YouTube feed. You guys have an awesome life. Take care of yourselves, stay blessed, and I'm out.